Wait for a couple of y'all to get up in there. Good morning, my peoples. It is morning, right? Yeah. Good morning, my peoples. Just wanted to talk to y'all for a minute. Kind of give y'all a little update. On where I'm sitting at, man. I think that been, good morning, Keys. I'm gonna get a couple more people. Good morning for y'all that's coming in. I might not have the best connection. Back, let me do this. Okay. Good morning, cuz. Love you too. I'm about to start by telling y'all where I sit at. Well, good morning. Let me tell y'all something, man. Since my son's funeral, okay, we're going on about, let's say about 6 months now. I really didn't know how to really kick this thing off and how I was really going to start this thing. But since my son's passing, since our son's passing, when I tell you, the world looked different. Like if you see my posts, I post certain Facebook things, my statuses and stuff like that, man. When I tell y'all I see the world different, I see the world with a different set of eyes, man. I'm telling you. And these set of eyes have not failed me yet. They haven't failed me yet, man. I'm telling you. When I look back, I'm looking back. When I, just sit and think to myself, man, I'm going back and I'm thinking and I'm thinking and I'm thinking. And the more I go back and think, man, it's like with the different set of eyes now. The more I go back and think, it's like I was asking myself a question. And I'm not sure if I was comfortable with the answer. But the answer that I got, it opened up my eyes to something else. So the question that I'm pretty much asking is, why was it my child? Why was it my child? And I've been asking that and asking that and asking that and asking that, right? But nothing would come to me and say, it was your child because of X, Y, and Z. Instead, what happened is, see, when you in a situation like that and you lose somebody so close to you like that, what tends to happen is you have to go off on your own for a minute, man. You really have to think to yourself, like for real. You gonna be in a mental state by yourself where you don't know where you at. That little term you got to find yourself. You gonna really be in that mental state for a very long time. And while you are in that mental state, because while you in this mental state, mind you, you are in this mental state alone. And when you're going through that process, when you looking at that process, you're going to see different things in a totally different way. Same stuff, but you're going to see it in a different way. You understand what I'm telling you? And so, what I mean by that is, like in this process, I've come to know the difference between, or a better understanding of the spiritual realm versus the physical realm. In the physical realm, I realized I was doing some things to myself, man. And it wasn't by accident. It wasn't by accident when I look back on it. You know what I'm saying? Looking back on it now, it was some things that I was doing to myself in that process. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a little while to catch on. But I was looking at everything that set up and led up to what it was that was leading me to what I was doing. And for the biggest end of that right there, it was because at that time going on, looking at what was going on with my son, I wasn't spiritually connected. I wasn't spiritually connected. I was physically connected. You see what I'm saying? And so when you look at this stuff and how things play out, you got to understand, you got to control your energy. So when it comes down to certain things, like I had to really shed a lot of stuff. I had to like blank my mind out and feel like you almost got to start from scratch. You know what I'm saying? The energy was so low that it wouldn't allow me to see past a funeral. You know what I'm saying? The energy level was so low that I couldn't understand, certain things. God, why would God do certain things? And some of the questions I was asking myself. And I'm not saying I got the 100% answer. I'm not saying that, but I'm going to tell you what came to me, though. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, because for one thing, I have been, for the biggest end, transparent. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, because certain things I can't be transparent about because it's too detrimental. You know what I'm saying? But for what I've been showing y'all, I've been 100% transparent about. What I've been talking to y'all about, I've been 100% transparent about. So I got to be 100% transparent about this right here, okay? So as I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking, throughout this process, you know what I'm saying, what's going on, like certain questions was being answered, but I couldn't get to that level until it's like I had to, as crazy as it sounds, y'all, you're going to have to forget about the physical. That's just the bottom line to it. In order for you to see what I'm talking about, you can't focus on the physical. That's really hard to do, and it's designed that way. And that's what I mean when, in terms of the funeral and stuff like that. I appreciate Clora Funeral Home. This is not nothing going against them. This has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. I appreciate the flowers. I appreciate the donations, the gifts, the outpour, I appreciate everything. But let me tell you what I've been seeing since then. Since then, a lot of people have revealed themselves. See, when you take off them physical eyes and put on these spiritual eyes, you will see a lot of what you didn't see at first. Or you are forced to face the things when you sit back to yourself and you have to think to yourself, like literally to yourself. You are forced to look and see the things that you ignored, the stuff that you put on the back burner and stuff like that. You are forced to have to deal with that, but you can't do it with everybody. You got to do it alone. You got to do it alone, man. And I'm going to try to tell you something. I'm not the one to see when you keep somebody energy low. When your energy is low, you're vulnerable. You know what I mean? You're vulnerable. I don't care what happens. I don't care if your mama die, your kid die. I don't care what happens. You know what I'm saying? Your energy is so low that you cannot connect with a higher power. From from my experience, your energy is so low that it does not allow you to connect with a higher power. So then you're going to be stuck at the funeral like me talking about, why did God do this? Why did God do that? You know what I'm saying? If it was this person, that right there, because my energy was so low, looking back in hindsight, my energy was so low. I couldn't fathom what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So I start thinking about all this stuff right here. If you thinking about all this stuff right here in the physical, all this stuff is designed to hold your spiritual being, the true part of you that's within you, is designed to hold you down. So you would never be able to reach that spiritual part of you if you so low, because that spiritual part of you is a much higher being than this physical part of you. From what I've experienced and from my point of view, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I didn't read up no books or nothing like this right here on it. I seen a couple of videos that kind of confirm what I was saying, but you don't know the true confirmation till you actually feel it. And when you feel it, it's going to be so strong and so right that it cannot be denied. You know what I'm saying? You could deny it with the physical, but that spiritual ain't going to lie to you. And so with that right there, you're going to see a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people that spiritual card is going to be played. They got to play that. They got to show their spiritual hand. And when they show their spiritual hand, they physical ain't going to mean nothing, because it's spiritual first and then the physical follows. Cool. Spiritual first, physical follows. So as I'm, pulling this stuff apart, I'm saying, listen, man, why is the energy so low? And it was because where was the focus at? The focus is on losing a child. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. In this process, I'm going to tell you something else. Let's keep it a whole buck. A lot of that damage, or what was seen to be damage, that mental damage, I did that to myself. I'm taking accountability on that right there, man. I'm be honest with you. When it came down to that, and I didn't want to rub that off on nobody else. When it came down to that, a lot of that right there, I take accountability for a lot of that stuff that I was seeing and going through at the time. Because here's the deal. It's totally your choice. You get there, yeah. Do you want to see your son down there like that? When you have many spirits telling you, no, my spirit said yeah. And guess what? You see it. And when you see it, that right there stays locked in your mind, keeping you low, because you're thinking physically now. You're thinking about the pain. You're thinking about your baby. You're thinking about this. It keeps your stuff low. Okay, this is what I'm figuring out later on. Then you take that right there, and then you top it on having to go identify your child. Now, mind you, this right here this is always designed. When your loved one pass away, somebody gonna have to go down there and identify him. You know what I'm saying? So now you're gonna see this right here again. If you ain't already see it at the time of, you're gonna see this again. Okay? So now you're nowhere spiritually connected like that right there, unless you already there, which I wasn't to that degree. You know what I mean? You won't see this at that time. So now you got the last time you seen them at the scene. You got your autopsy picture that you seen that you had to identify them with. You got the memory of everything happening. Then you gotta think about funeral homes, and then you gotta think about coffins, and then you gotta think about ground and burials and cemeteries and obituaries and all that other stuff, man. You thinking about all that stuff, and it's tearing you apart. Every step of the way is ripping a piece of your soul. Every step of the way. And I feel like it's designed to do so. That's not to say that I'm not appreciative of anything, okay? I'm very appreciative of everything. I'm talking about the inner beings of it, okay? It feels like it's designed to hope, because your energy is so low. And when your energy is low, you're vulnerable. So now what do you get? You get the justice system taking advantage of you. You get people that you thought that was supposed to stood in your corner, the tallest in your corner. They come off as if they there, but they not really there. And their spirit is going to tell them. Not what comes out their mouth. Their spirit is going to tell them. You see what I'm saying? Man, I've been going through all type of transformations or whatever you want to call it. I've been going through all type of stuff. So I'm sorry if I can't call you and pick up the phone and and call you and say hi. I'm going through something right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that for nobody to feel sorry for me or nothing like that. It's just I'm seeing stuff for what it is, not what it's supposed to be. See, what made me take off those grief glasses was the justice system. See, as long as you ain't grieving and all that other stuff, you can see a little better. That's why I say it's always going to take somebody with a good set of eyes to be able to look at this stuff. And when you start seeing stuff for what it is and not what it's supposed to be, you will never be able to unsee it. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. So, since then, you know, it done been times, like, since the physical death of my son, I've seen him a couple of times. I've seen my son a couple of times. I'm talking about, like, see, when you see him, you're not going to see him spot on. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see him out your peripheral. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about it has been to the point, and this right here is what really started to make me see different. You know what I'm saying? Sort of say. This right here is what started to make me see stuff different, man, because as I'm going through this right here, y'all, BS y'all not, listen, I start to see him, you know, and you would think to yourself like images, like you would think that maybe you just thinking something like that. I'm gonna tell you something. That wasn't no, I actually seen him. You understand? And it was interesting the way I seen him, because when I seen him, it was almost just like as sure as you know I'm talking to you. As sure as you know I'm talking to you, that's how sure I was that I had seen him. I was on the phone with my sister once, and this is part of this. I was on the phone with my sister, and during that process, I was in the basement grabbing clothes out the washer. I put the other clothes in the hamper, and I went to move the hamper, and it was like, watch out, Junior. And it was like, cause he was right there. I seen him right there, and he was right there in the way. And it was like, and when I tell you it hit you in the inside, it grabbed at your energy, but it wasn't a bad energy though. This right here was like a relief type of energy. You know what I'm saying? I told my sister about it. I've seen him a couple of times, man. When I tell you I've seen him a couple of times, I've seen him a couple of times. So the one time that I told y'all about, you know, that I seen him, where we would be asleep and we call it our dream. We was playing hide and seek, y'all. When I say we was playing hide and seek, it was the place where he was at, man. It was like there was no funerals. There was no sadness. There was no grief. There was no hostility. It was none of that, man. It was like, man, you may as well have been in paradise wherever we was at when I was asleep. But we wound up on my father's front porch playing around, and he was just as happy and everything. The way I seen him on them autopsy pictures had no effect. It had no effect. He was him. He was actually him. And it was so real that I know that it was real. That was that time right there. So then it was another time where I seen him where I was sitting on the bed. I heard some footsteps or something like across the bed. It was just a really, you know, fast. Something that grabbed your attention enough to make you look. Nope. So you come back inside the room, talking on the phone, not paying attention, because a lot of times this right here is when it hit you. When you're not paying attention. Is when you're not paying attention and you're not really thinking about it. You just going on with whatever it is that you do. It's going to come just like that, and it's going to hit you, and you're going to think that it's something that you just seen. No, it ain't. Yeah, it is something that you seen. But listen, dig this. So I come back in and I tell my girl, I say, man, look, he on your shoulder right there, Junior right there. And that's how clear you see him. It ain't, for me, it wasn't this big, there you go, look. No, it wasn't that. It was, there you go, as if he was standing there physically. So much to the point, y'all, so much to the point to where I feel the only thing that separate me from my child right now is just literally this, the body, the physical. But I had to come to that right there myself, because you always hear people say, oh, he always be with you. And yeah, I don't think people understand to the magnitude in which they say that. But I'm looking, I'm being here. I'm paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So, one day, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I say, well, in order for me to get in touch with him on the spiritual realm, I will have to go there. I already know in the physical realm, it's over. That's what we know. And that's what we be focused on. So what I'm saying is this right here. We got to go back and grab our spirituality back so you will know exactly what's going on and stop paying attention to these physical eyes. Once you get so far down in spirituality, and I'm not talking religious. I didn't say religion. I said spirituality, man. That voice that's inside of you. That voice that's listening to you. That voice that hears the voice on the outside of the voice that you hear coming from me. Because the voice, y'all hear a voice on the outside of the tone that y'all hear coming out my mouth coming from me right now. So what it is, what it felt like was, okay, I got to get in touch with that part, because that's where I seen him at. I seen him in the spiritual part. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm telling myself. I done seen him on the spiritual part, because that's spiritual right there. You ain't gonna see him on the physical part. The physical part, when you keep on replaying everything that's in your mind, it takes away from the spiritual part. You see what I'm saying? Now, I keep on going, y'all. I keep on going. I'm listening, man. And I was sitting down one day, because all this right here about to tie together. All this stuff that I just told y'all is about to tie together, right? So I'm sitting down, me and my girl, we sitting upstairs. I'm sitting at the table, she's sitting on the couch. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. That morning I was feeling really low. I got up with really low energy. And I just really wasn't feeling it, man. To be honest with you, I wasn't feeling nothing, man, because it was just the energy, man. It just wasn't there. Nonetheless. So I'm sitting there, man. And let me tell y'all what I was saying. Now, when I tell y'all I was allowing my spirit to talk to me, I was allowing my spirit to talk to me. So before I get into that, let me tell you how you get in touch with your spirit. If you confused on how you get in touch with your spirit, or at least I'm gonna tell you how I got in touch with mine. What you got to do is you got to be able to hear, see, and say. At least those three things. You got to be able to hear, see, and say things without using these eyes, this mouth, and these ears. Simple. So if I tell you to say egg without saying it out loud, you will hear yourself say egg. It won't be with this mouth. You won't hear yourself say egg. It won't be with these ears. When you say it, it won't be with this mouth. And if you just close your eyes and think about it, you're going to see the egg, but it won't be with these eyes. That right there was the spirit right there that was talking to me right there. That part right there. And man, I'm sitting up there, and that spirit right there, at that moment, what I was telling myself was, Junior, Daddy, sorry, man. You didn't deserve that. You was laying down there in the streets. You had to go in there and go in and ride the ambulance all by yourself. Mommy and daddy wasn't there. This is what I'm telling myself. I'm killing myself. Then you had to go lay in that cold freezer. They had to cut on your little body and all autopsy, and then they had to take pictures, and you had to be on. You did that all by yourself. Daddy, so sorry, man. Daddy, so sorry. Man, Daddy, so sorry. Almost about to shed a tear, man. And then I heard him. His voice came to me. Check it out. He said, I wasn't there. I was with y'all. Man, this right here came to me so clear. It was more so like you having a child and you call your child and you say, hey, get out the bathroom. And your child is downstairs in the basement like, I'm not upstairs in the bathroom, I'm in the basement. That answer that they gave you of certainty that they wasn't in the bathroom, they was in the basement, it was like, it hit. And I was like, what? And it all started to make sense. It all started to make sense when that right there came through. So as a confirmation of that, what happened was he kept saying, gray and green hoodie, gray and green hoodie. He kept saying gray and green hoodie. In my mind, I just kept it quiet. I didn't say nothing, but he just kept saying, I just kept hearing gray and green hoodie, gray and green hoodie. Now, mind you, if I have seen this gray and green hoodie, I done forgot about it. I had no idea about it at this time, what he was talking about, but that thought ran across my mind. And then right behind him telling me that he was with us, all this stuff that been falling down, pictures falling down in the house, dishes and stuff moving, footsteps across the bed, seeing you right here and glimpses, it all started to make sense. It was like almost confirmation, right? Right? Man, listen. When I tell you, after he told me that he was with us, the way he said it, the way it came off, it had to make me rethink. So wait a minute. You was with us. Everything, when I tell you everything came like almost full circle, I started to get an understanding of certain things. You know what I'm saying? He said he was with us, and following that right there, he said, a hoodie. He kept talking about a hoodie. I asked his mother, I say, do Junior got a gray and green hoodie? She said, yeah. Cause it came so many times. She told me, yeah. And then she started to describe the hoodie. Now, mind you, the only thing I asked was, did he have a hoodie? You know, he kept on saying it so many times to the point to where I just asked her out loud. All this is in the same breath. All this in the same sitting. And she said, yeah. And she went on to describe it like she volunteered the information. Yeah, he got a hoodie. He got a dark gray hoodie with a lime green. I'm like, oh my God. And I said it out loud. It came out like, oh my God. That's when everything stopped. But I was like, oh my God. And she was like, what? And how she described it is the way it was sitting right here. Not with these eyes, not with these ears. It was internal, baby. And the way she described it is the way that it said. I said, oh my God. So it was like confirmation. So now I turn back around and I go back and I look at all this stuff right here now, right? I got to look at everything. I got to go back. I'm telling you, man, listen, the more you look inside that realm right there, I'm telling you, the more spiritual you start to think and looking, the more you start to look out the spiritual eyes, the more you ain't gonna pay attention to these physical eyes. They just gonna be for show only. But the spiritual eyes, when you start paying attention to that, it ain't gonna be a spot where you gonna walk in where you ain't damn near literally scanning everybody. You gonna hear what they saying, but they spirit is always gonna stand out at you. I don't care what it is, and they not gonna be able to hide it, because you can't hide the spirit. And that's another thing that I learned too, because I started to see a whole lot of people's spirit for what it was, not what they were supposed to be. You know what I mean? I'm telling you. And I'm going to tell you this right here. The more spiritual that you become, is going to be a very thin line between spiritual and crazy, okay? Because the stuff that you're going to talk about, if you're not up there to understand what I'm talking about, you're going to think I'm talking crazy anyway. To a lot of people, I just might be talking crazy, man. But I'm trying to tell you what I had to go through. Now, mind you, the stuff that I'm telling you about, I didn't mention anything about Isaiah, Job, Peter, Paul, Matthew, Genesis, Deuteronomy, Kings, Solomon, none of that. I ain't have to mention none of that. This right here is solely from within. And so when I get a real glimpse of that and I say, hey, wait a minute, the power is within, man. Nothing on the outside of you is better than you, man. Y'all got to know that too. But teachers on, that's another rabbit hole I'm not about to go down. But when I start connecting with them that way, I figured out that in order for me to connect back with my son the way that I know him, I'll have to do it in a different way, spiritually. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you, in doing that though, trying to connect back to him spiritually, the people that's around you or the people that you connected with, you going to start to see their spirit stuff too though. In that process, this is what I'm learning. This is what I've learned. You're going to start to see you went looking for him. You're going to start to see people real intentions about you. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't going to be what they say. The spirit, the body follow the spirit. It's not the other way around. Man, when I tell you, you're going to start, once you start accepting it for what it is and not what it's supposed to be, hey, you're going to see a totally different world. This is why I keep on telling y'all, I no longer see the world the way people see it. You know what I'm saying? I don't no longer see it that way. I see it totally different now. I got a different set of eyes out here for that, because now with him telling me that, okay, I was with y'all. You like, I wasn't there. I was with y'all. Let me tell you what he didn't mention. Let me tell you what he didn't mention. My son never mentioned nothing about laying on the street. My son never mentioned nothing about riding in the ambulance. He never mentioned nothing about it hurt because they was cutting on him and taking all his organs out. He never told me nothing about him being in no cold freezer. He ain't never told me nothing about he remember him going inside the ground. He ain't told me nothing about him remember being covered up. He ain't said none of that stuff. Only thing I've been hearing from him is I'm okay. I'm okay. And it's been hard for me to digest. Why? Because I had to physically be the one to witness and see that with something that was so close to me. And it was up to me to get it out of my mind. It was up to me to get rid of it, because physically, if you could just erase that stuff physically, then you don't have nothing to worry about. So now you got a thin line between your memories on your pictures and your videos, because that's part of it too. You know, you might not look at that as something that's going to really pull you down, but where do your energy go when you look at these pictures? Where do your energy go when you look at these videos? If it go up, keep it. If it go down, you probably might not want to get rid of it, but you might not want to look at it either though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just certain things, like, you know, like for instance, here's what you got to do. For some of these people, man, like, let's say you want to get with somebody, right? You want to try to get with them spiritually, right? And what you got to do is, I think the fastest way to do it, I believe, the fastest way to do it is to look at a video or a picture of them at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, really look at it and like enjoy that moment for what it was, for what you remember it to be at that time, and then go to sleep. Dream. More than likely, that person might just come to you. I tried it. And it would be times where he would come, sometimes he didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I'm past that hurdle. I can get him to come that way. It's like, I'm trying to get away to where I can see you like physically, you know what I'm saying? But know that that's not you, but I'm still trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm there. Man, this morning, man, something beautiful happened to me. I ain't gonna get into that right there. But man, no, I will tell you. I will tell you this morning, man, listen, I got up this morning, man, and I got up this morning and it was like really dark. You ever felt somebody stand over you, man, while you was asleep and you just knew that somebody was over you? Man, listen, it was a plant over me this morning where I was laying at. And I heard something move. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Gotta call you back. And I heard something move. And it wasn't, I thought it was my daughter coming upstairs or something like that right there, man. And when I tell you, so just imagine laying down, right? And then somebody, their body is facing your head. So they looking towards your feet, but they looking down at your face. Man, I promise you, something grabbed my head and went, I thought it was my daughter because I thought I heard her beads and everything. And so I woke up. Wasn't nobody there. There was nobody there. It was just total darkness. There wasn't nobody there. And then about maybe 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I heard my daughter come walking up the stairs. That was not her. That was not her that did that. You know what I'm saying? That was not her that did that, man. And so that right there is where I've been focused at. You know what I'm saying? I've been, thinking about that. And like I said, don't get it twisted, man. It's just when you know that right there, you will know that there is no death. You know what I'm saying? Like that energy transferred. It wasn't destroyed. Because he ain't mentioned nothing about none of that stuff. It was just like he was here. The only thing about it was he just wasn't physically here. That's the way it felt to me. You know what I'm saying? He ain't say nothing about none of that stuff. So now it brings me back to what I was saying, going back to the physical stuff now. It was like, now that I know this right here now, you know what I'm saying? It was like when you in the physical, you can see how low your energy is. It's a lot of low energy, which brings me to, is it really designed to be that way? You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like almost torture. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it on the physical end with the physical eyes, it's almost like torture, man. Looking at some of this stuff right here that you're going to keep on remembering. You know what I'm saying? So now listen to what I'm about to say. Listen to what I'm about to say and get what I'm saying. Okay. When you looking at this stuff right here, if you know that spiritually, the energy doesn't die. Well, what was operating your child or you? It was energy. Well, what happened to the energy? It transferred, right? But it's not there with that body anymore because the body can no longer move. You see what I'm saying? The body is no longer workable, so to say. It's not, the body is, that's it. Okay, so now we know that right there. So if the energy, on the energy side, if that right there goes on, then that means that on the physical side, it wasn't what you thought it was. It really wasn't what you thought it was. But all that stuff that you done went through that process of making funeral arrangements, seeing your loved one, like think about this. Spiritually, it's like, okay, the energy doesn't die. But physically, you go to the funeral service and then you look at a deceased person that's just laying there dead. And you want to make this right here your last memory of this person. And because that's your last memory of this person, it replays over and over and over and over. And it keeps you stagnant in one place after another place after another place. You can't move. You can't do nothing. at this point, I know this now. And even with that, it's kind of like breaking away from something that you were so used to. You ever tried to break away from meat and just go be a vegetarian? That process that you had to try to break getting away from them cheeseburgers and the pot roast, the ribs, beef and pork, steaks. That transition point where you had to pull away from that right there, where you knew when you found out and you said, hey, wait a minute, man, I know that stuff right there ain't good for me. So now I'm about to start doing my vegan thing. That wasn't that process didn't just, that was something that you kind of like weaned yourself onto. Very few go cold turkey. Well, in this case right here with me, this right here forced me to go cold turkey because it was like, wham, deal with it. And you got to do this cold turkey and you got to do this now. So it's either now or never. If you don't see what's going on now, you ain't never going to do it. And which way you had to do that right there? You had to take my son from me. Physically. You know what I mean? So I got all this stuff right here bottled up. Oh, okay, trying to make sense of all this stuff right here when it's not really that I'm being stagnant. It's more so of me putting this stuff together. Because it was different things, man. Like long before my son passed away, it was different stuff that was telling me I would have different, and it was just with him. It would be different things that would come to me, man. It told me, man, that I wasn't going to have him I wasn't going to keep him. And it would come to me that way. And I would not try to think about it, to be honest with you. What I would do is I would ignore that. When stuff used to come to my mind like that right there and tell me that I won't keep him too long and stuff like that. So I made sure that I cherished every moment that I had with him, you know what I'm saying, and held on to him as long as I could. But it wasn't because I kept hearing, he wasn't going to be with you too long, but I kept hearing that. It just kept on, like the spirit just kept telling me that. And it would be times where, when you would have thoughts like that right there, you would try not to think about it. You don't want to think about that about your child. You know what I'm saying? But those thoughts ran across my mind a few times over the years that told me that I wasn't going to keep him long. You know what I'm saying? I thought that maybe it was something that would have been with me because I was more out and about in the world and stuff like that. So, I started trying to put stuff in place. So just in case it was me, you would be all right. Everything would be all right. You know what I mean? And so, like, I go back and it was times where car accidents was one of the other things. So what would happen is, like if I got in a car or something like that right there, you know what I'm saying? And, we would, you have a lot of kids in the car. You know what I'm saying? Quite obviously, we're going to put the boys by the doors and the girls and everything, they're going to get in the middle or something, something like that, depending on how many. And I would always put him by the door. Any event that something like that right there was to happen, you got to make a choice. Who going to be by the door? Your oldest child. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a kid, but yet and still, he was still the oldest child. That's just the decision you got to make. We got to get to where we got to go. So it was just certain stuff that led up to it. When it finally happened, it was shocking as hell. And did it hurt? Absolutely. Do it still hurt? Do you still have moments? Yup. All this stuff that I just sat up here and told y'all, I still have my physical moments. Had one the other day ago. You know what I'm saying? With the stuff that I know already. So for the ones that don't know that right there, that haven't grabbed and gotten a hold to that person that I'm talking about, that lives within y'all, not on the outside of y'all. For those people who haven't gotten that, you will notice that in the way that they act, the way that they speak, they tone, they act, they move, they body language, everything. That's why they can't hide it, because that's part of your spirit. Only thing you can do is lie against it with the mouth, with the physical mouth. But I'm gonna tell you something, baby, that spirit gonna tell you everything. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna run down almost your physical DNA almost. I'm telling you, that's what would happen. Absolutely, that's what would happen. That's what I've been, kind of like really going through. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really been in touch with anybody, and another thing, like when you going through that right there, sometimes your energy is just not meant to be around other people. So I stopped coming around other people, not because I'm mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. See, I got consideration for other people's energy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want my energy to come off and dampers everybody else's energy around. You know what I'm saying? I don't want, because my son passed due to a intoxicated driver, that now when I come around, you gotta hide your drinks and stuff like that. You don't want to see it. Man, listen, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Because he wasn't there anyway. According to him, he wasn't there. And we could vouch for that by the movement that we had going on around the house. So it's kind of like almost like, man, you try to work around what you thought you knew. Sort of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at the design and how this stuff right here was put up. Was this stuff designed to make your energy go up, or was it designed to go down? Family cars and stuff pulling up to your house. You looking at hearses. Closing the coffin really slow. Getting to the point to where when people start socializing and finally got them tears out their eyes after been sitting in them bleachers for a long time, you got the organ that's gonna get really loud and put out a frequency inside the church or inside the funeral home, wherever you having this service at. They put out, when they start playing that music, pay attention to the energy of what's happening to all the people around you. You surrounded with all these people with low energy that you have no other choice but to feel it. And I hear you is just there to support somebody. You don't know, some of y'all just there to support somebody. You don't know these people that's in this coffin, but you find yourself crying with everybody else. Real tears. Simply because you felt the energy of what was going on in that room. You see what I'm saying? This stuff right here was designed to pull your energy down. It's almost like it was almost like the people playing the music, they get a cue like, okay, y'all, they too quiet. Okay, now watch this. Hit it. And then they go hit it, and then the music come back, and then you start to see everybody around you. They just start boiling down in tears. They put on some sad music, and that don't allow you, when you working with that type of energy like that, that energy does not allow you to connect with the spirit. And again, when I say the spirit, I'm talking about your spirit. I'm not talking about none of that religious stuff that they talking about in church. You know what I'm saying? Not in the way that they talking about it. I'm talking about your actual spirit. It won't allow you to do it. You have to be on a different level, man, to be able to connect with that right there. Other than that right there, you're going to miss it every time. And so you're going to know that right there in the people and where their spirituality level is, because they dwell on things that hold their spirit down, aka grief. You see what I'm saying? That's one of them. It just come disguised as sorrow. Sorrow, that's another one. You know what I'm saying? All these low energy terms and stuff that comes along with funeral and dead people and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? That stuff is designed and put in place to keep your energy so low that you won't even be able to know who you even are. So no, you won't be able to receive the message. Yes, I'm at the funeral not being able to receive the message. Do you understand? I was at the funeral not being able to receive the message, so much to the point to where I really want to, right now, as I'm thinking about this right here, I'm about to see if I can pull up. I haven't seen this in a long time. You can pull up my son's funeral service. It's on YouTube. Just give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up, and I want to go directly to what I said and see if any of this stuff, because I haven't went back to it. It'll be my first time pretty much listening to it. Well, maybe my second time since I came to this conclusion, or to this right here point. I ain't at my conclusion yet. I'm still working on it. Let me see. But I'm telling y'all, And if I can find it, man, I'll play it right here so y'all can hear what I said for those that wasn't there. Cause I did speak at my son, church. Let me see. I'm going to the page right now. That right there. Y'all got it. Let me see. Y'all, I'm sorry, y'all. They look like they gone now, y'all. They probably gone. They probably gone, man. He probably got them off of there. But I'm still looking for it. But nonetheless, man, if I can find it, you know what I'm saying? I will play it though, man, but it's just different. It's just different now, man. Everything is just different. You don't see the same things that you once seen. That's what I was saying. Certain things that you once seen, the way that you used to see it, and it's gonna be some good and some gonna be bad though. But it might not be bad. It might be just for healing purposes. Who knows? Let me see. I don't know how to search his because this stuff is not in order. Some of this stuff is going 3 and 4 years behind, 5 years, then it go 5 months. My son's service was about approximately 5 or 6 months ago. Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It was let me see. Let me see if I can type it in. Let me see if it's okay, y'all, I found it. I found it, y'all. I found it. And let me tell y'all this right here. At this time right here, man, see, let me tell you this right here. Before I get into that right there. When initially when you go through that and going through the initial shock, hey, the people love the support. But I'm gonna tell you something. Remember all that low energy? Remember all that low energy? I found it. Remember that low energy I was telling y'all about? It won't even allow for you to tell you that, hey, Jesus got this. You ain't trying to hear none of that. It won't allow you to hear God got you. You ain't trying to hear none of that. You ain't trying to hear no God bless you. You know, Jesus gonna don't worry about it. God handles you ain't trying to hear none of that. None of that stuff reside with you at that time. You got to do some work, baby, to do this right here. And I'm telling you, you're not going to do this work with other people. So let's see. Cause I don't know. I don't remember exactly what I said, but we about to hear it for myself. Hold on. Let me see. I'm just trying to find it. I'm trying to scroll through on my other phone right here and find it, but it ain't cooperating with me. It's related. All right, we found it. Let me see.
May God's hope-filled promises bring comfort to your spirit for all the strength at this time.
I'm looking, y'all. Y'all got to give me a chance. This is my first time. I never thought to do this. I just don't thought to do this right now, talking to y'all. I'm trying to. I'm fast forwarding. I'm fast forwarding.
Treat him nicely. Amen. You can begin.
Okay, y'all, y'all still with me? Y'all still with me? Okay, so listen. Let me see if I can turn this thing around real quick so y'all can see this right here. Now this right here is when I was at my son's service, right here. And this right here is when I got ready to speak. So I'm about to see something real quick because I was at a low point right now at this point. But let's see. Past 2 weeks been really tough. And what I'm about to say, I hope nobody take it personal. But I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody's condolences. I appreciate the God bless yous and the Jesus is going to be there and all that, but I'm going to let y'all know right now that's really hard to hear. That's very, very tough to hear. When I can hear people come up here and say, hey, Jesus, at the time we need you is now. No, we needed you November 9th. That's when we needed you. For me, that's when I needed you. So when I look at this whole thing and I see how good God is, right? He blessed me with a child and then took him right back. Oh yeah, he blessed me with that agonizing pain of having to deal with how I'm going to go on further on in life. Thank you, God. He had the opportunity to be able to relieve a lot of this pain. Instead, we going through it. It's a wreck. The person that's responsible for this, good old God, he spared that man's life. Took my son with him. Spared that man's life. Won't he do it? Okay. Furthermore, God just keep on working in action. He keep working in action because guess what? The guy that did this, he also got a shorter bond. God looked out for him. This is what we got to deal with right here for me. So when people tell me that God got him and God did this boy, he don't deserve that. That wasn't that type of kid. Junior was a very good kid. Junior was not a bad kid at all. In fact, Junior was a type of kid that attracted other kids. It wasn't nothing but good about Junior. Junior didn't have a chance to sin, so to say. Junior didn't have a chance to do that. The other guy had a chance to sin. He had a chance to hurt people. He had a chance to disobey God. He had a chance to take people and still be here. So if my son have a purpose, if he has a purpose, then that means that the guy that did this, his purpose not fulfilled because he's still walking around. This right here is untimely. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Do I have a beef? Absolutely. I have a big beef with God right now. So I come to his house right now to get an answer. For the first time, I can walk up to this coffin for the first time in my life, and I go, I don't get a high five. walk up to this coffin and I say, hey, Junior, Daddy love you, man. Because that came out every single day. There was not a day that went by that I didn't tell both of my kids that I love them. Every single day, literally. And every single time, Junior would say, nah, Dad. Then the next time he say, Junior was just getting to the point to where he said, he would love his mama all day, but when I said it because I'm a man, that didn't sit well with him. But nonetheless, he ain't have a chance to do none of that stuff. And his life wasn't spared. So it's very hard for me to believe that Jesus, God, whatever y'all want to call him, is going to come through when you need him. Because I needed him on the 9th. And he blessed me with all this agonizing pain that I have to go through night in, night out, day in, day out, and shielding and holding back and blaming selves and look at how this could have been prevented and all this other stuff. And there is no relief with that right there. So where's God at?
Junior used to be my favorite cousin. He was the favorite cousin that I always loved.
Okay, well, there it is, y'all. So, I've learned a lot since then. Hold on. Let me get this right here back right. So since then, I've learned a lot. You know what I mean? I didn't know that thing say, this thing say, that must have been when they posted it, but it say 4 months ago. But if y'all wanted to look it up and look at the whole service, from that day, it's right there. It say, if y'all don't want to have to scroll through all that, it's homegoing service for Jerome Maurice Coleman Jr., dated 11/21/2024. It's on YouTube. And if you want to go directly to my part, it's around about the 35-ish area, 35-minute mark. But you got many different parts in there. Like I said, it was some of the stuff I could take, some of it I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? I was a little bit everywhere. You know what I mean? So now I go back and I look at all that stuff and the design, you know what I'm saying, for that right there, it wouldn't allow me to see further than what I could see with the naked eye. To be honest with you, it won't allow you to do that because this picture is painted in your mind that your child is laying right here in the coffin. See, that right there just blows your mind, just that right there in and of itself. So when somebody come to you and start talking to you about this Jesus and God stuff, you're not trying to hear that, man. Don't nobody want to hear that when that's happening. And they not saying, some of them saying it sincerely. Some of them saying it because they think that's the right thing to say at the time. You know what I'm saying? But you're really not hearing some of that stuff, man. You really not. Because now at that point right there, you forced to really sit back and think about some stuff. You really forced to sit back and really think about everything. And all the answers going to just start coming to you. A lot of them anyway, they're going to start coming to you. Some of them you're going to have to check and, but after so long, you're not going to need no validity. And that's where I'm trying to get to, where I don't need no validity from other sources to verify, where I sit at. Meaning that, an example of that would be when I was talking about him mentioning his hoodie. Him talking about a hoodie. Okay. His hoodie. I had to verify that through an outside source. So I asked his mother, hey, do he got a hoodie? Yeah, he got a great hoodie. Such. See? I need to get to the point to where, I just for show, no. And sometimes, many times, you already know. That's just you juggling yourself around in your mind. So now, me knowing, what I feel about, this funeral stuff right here, man, think about it for a minute, y'all. Just think about it for a minute. when you know that spiritually that person isn't there. And you know, spiritually y'all connect anyway. Just you left here on this plane right here. It's you that haven't went to where, you know, you still stuck here. When you know that right there, man, you start thinking about these funerals and stuff like that. They are designed to keep you from knowing, in my opinion, that this person is still with you. Like, with you, like, to the degree that they, like, literally, like, with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, not with you in a way like that's just the right thing to say. And we know that they always gonna be with you in your heart and all this other. No. This right here is deeper than that right there. I'm talking about deeper than that. That's why I say when certain people say certain things, I don't think that not even they realize what they have just told you. You're going to pay attention to all that right there. When, if you got on the set of glasses that I got on, I ain't talking about these ones right here. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to go through all that right there. You're going to be able to figure it out. And don't get it twisted. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. It's kind of like a journey. It's kind of like a journey, but you're going to have to go on this journey by yourself. You're going to have to go on this journey by yourself when you get ready to go on this journey right here, because it's only going to make sense to you. Don't share it with nobody, because they'll let the air out where you're trying to go with it. You see what I'm saying? And then again, on this journey, going back to the stuff right there, only thing I could think about was stuff on the physical end. This is why I was telling you that I may have did more harm to myself on the physical end, not knowing this stuff, though, not knowing this stuff. I probably did more harm to myself because of the stuff that I allowed myself to take in. Autopsy pictures, caskets, you know what I'm saying? Cryings. You know what I'm saying? Accident scenes. You know what I'm saying? Medical examiner's office. All that stuff right there. It just hit you all boom, 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 boom. Then we ain't even start talking about prosecutors and the other person. I ain't even said nothing about him. You know, you got him, the defendant, and then you talking about judges and court and all this other stuff. And, you know, take your belt off before you come in, and you know what I'm saying? Sitting people in the same vicinity with somebody that just did harm to your loved one, like everything is cool, being surrounded by officers and not having stuff. Man, all that stuff is physical and it's designed to keep your energy super low. Super low. And that's the reason why in stuff like that, in some cases, sometimes it's for informational purposes, but you see that low energy stuff, it typically travels pretty fast versus the stuff that you probably really need to know. So if you knew this stuff right here and you could really exercise it to a T, then death would be nothing. It would be, you will understand it. Once you, it more likely, like, it more likely will make more sense to you. Because from where he told me where he was, well, he ain't tell me where he was, but just from the stuff that's mentioned, I'm okay, having fun, laughing, running through the house. That don't sound like a bad place to me. It wasn't nothing there that said sadness. So wait a minute, something is being contradicted here. Because only sadness you're going to see is when you get to the physical. Again, your funeral homes, funerals, coffins, and hearses, and graveyards, and all that other stuff. But if you could work on the outside of that right there, man, please, you'll be able to move. You will be able to move. You know what I mean? You will be able to move. So no, you ain't going to see me getting on here talking about no Trump. You ain't going to see me getting on here talking about, you know what I'm saying, no politics and nothing like that in that, cause that's all the physical realm. When you hear me talking about stuff like that, you know I'm in my physical. You know what I'm saying? Because in your spiritual, all that stuff means absolutely nothing. It's almost like everything that you see down here is a delusion, man. Ain't none of this stuff real. None of it. This phone ain't real. The car that you driving ain't real. Ain't none of this stuff real. With the physical ears, you gonna sit up there and say, how? How is this stuff not real? You sound crazy. With them spiritual ears, if you know what I'm talking about, hey, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. But I'm telling you right now, here it is, almost 6 months after my son transcended. You know, hey, that's what I've come to, man. And don't get it twisted, man. It has been a very tough road. And I'm telling you right now, this right here is not for the weak. That's how you really tell where somebody is at spiritually, because their body will follow. You know what I'm saying? You done did it so many times, man. You do it all the time. What do? You come in and somebody energy is off. First thing you say is, what's wrong with you? You wouldn't have asked them that if you didn't feel it spiritually first. Something spiritually hit you and said something ain't wrong with them, and you immediately recognized it. That was your spirit. You know what I'm saying? That was your spirit. Your spirit was telling you that something was off. You know what I'm saying? We only ignore the spirit when it's something that we don't want to hear, or something that we don't want to go along with, when it don't go along with what we thought stuff was supposed to be, so you ignore it. I ignored it for a long time. It told me a long time my son wasn't going to be with me for a while. You know, I wasn't going to have my son for a while. You know what I'm saying? For a long. And I ignored that. I ignored it. And it kept coming to me stronger and stronger and stronger. So much to the point I had to shake my head. At times I would have to go in the bedroom and check on him, make sure that he all right, give him a kiss on the cheek while he sleep. You know what I'm saying? And tried to keep on ignoring it, to the point to where when it happened, it was like, God damn, I knew it. It was like I knew it, but I didn't know, you know, that's the way it almost make you feel, like, damn, I knew it. I knew I was going to get this right here one day. I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, that's the way it make you feel, like, man, I knew it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew it. Because I ignored that energy. Because who want to feel that right there, man? You don't sit back and ponder all day about you putting your child in the dirt. You don't sit up there and ponder all day about losing a loved one. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. That's just something that you just don't do, or don't want to do. Even so much to the point to where you even know that when you speak something, it's a lot that hold in that tongue. So you know that right there, but you only know it when it fits your your spirit. And how do you know it fits your spirit? Have a conversation with a group of loved ones about death benefits, about life insurance policies and stuff like that. You gonna hear people say, "Oh, I don't even want to talk about that. Let's not even talk about that, because I don't even want to." You see what I'm saying? Why you think they saying that? Do they even know why they saying that? I know why you saying it now. And once you be able to see that right there in somebody, man, I'm telling you, you will be able to see that with these eyes, though. You will be able to see it with your spiritual eyes, and you'll be able to see it with your physical eyes too. Once you become, once you get, you know, locked in with your spirit, you'll be able to see that stuff, man. I'm telling you. And that's what I mean by they ain't gonna be able to hide behind the prettiness. You ain't gonna be able to hide behind all the, listen, you gonna be able to feel it. And what you can't do is keep ignoring it. Because at some point in time, something is going to come through so strong to where you're gonna really have to sit down and deal with it. For me, it was my son. That's at this point, that's what I've come to. So when I was asking, at that time, probably why I was asking, God, why did you do this right here? Man, you need to sit down and think about some stuff, bro. You need to sit down and observe the people around you. You probably need to really calculate what's going on, because if you gonna take a bigger L somewhere else down the line. You thought your son was an L. But you probably gonna take a bigger L somewhere down the line if I don't grab your attention right now. He's not gone. He's still here. He right here. Here you go. That physical body, that's gone. He got to get him another body. That's just the body, man. You still stuck on the physical body? It's hard for you to be stuck on the physical body when you know he here with you spiritually. But again, I didn't say religious. I ain't said nothing about no crosses, no churches, no none of that stuff. And that right there was a part of spirituality that I was never taught in the church. That's why it never resonated with me to go inside the church. You know what I'm saying? Because for what I just said, it didn't cost me a dime. I didn't have to pay a tithe. I didn't have to give 10%. I didn't have to give a love offering. You know what I mean? I ain't have to go nowhere. I ain't have to go nowhere. I did that right there, just sitting right here in my truck, in my van. You see what I'm saying? And so, I'm just trying to get to the stuff that I did, all this stuff that I just told y'all, that's just what I believe, you know, in you know, sort of a way, you know, I'm still trying to find my way, so to say, you know what I mean? I'm be honest with y'all. And, you know, y'all was with me. That's the reason why I'm sharing this with y'all, is because along that process, y'all was with me. I will give that to y'all. Y'all was with me, so y'all did deserve an update. And the update ain't always got to be about the Kenworthy's prosecutor's office and them dropping the ball and all that other stuff. See, all that right there is that physical, low-level shit stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's that physical, low-level stuff. You know what I'm saying? That keep your energy out of bounds with all this stuff that I was just telling you about. I'd never be able to connect with my son if I'm sitting up here talking about some, not handling the case right, or they lied to me this, and all them videos that I was putting out back there at the time, that was what was going on at the time. Absolutely. But if I stay there, I'm not saying it was wrong with what I put out, but if I stay there, man, you won't be able to see nothing else beyond that right there. You become stagnant. You're going to waste every minute of your life after that. Every minute of your life is wasted after that right there. And it stop being wasted when you come to conclusion, when you come to grips with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And figure out where you really at and be honest with yourself. You going to have to really be honest with yourself. You're going to have to come real with yourself, because you can't lie to yourself. I'm being honest with you. And so maybe that's probably why, you know, my son had to go on the other side for a minute. You know what I mean? Hey. And, you know, one thing I can't do is sit here in grief and sorrow and everything else with me knowing physically, spiritually, everything, that the way that I normally was used to seeing you, I'd never be able to see you in that form. But I can still see you. You just got to practice on how to do it in this form. And that's what I'm talking about, that process and practicing. Because when he came, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So I know it came to me. After you keep coming to me so many times, if y'all can hear me, thumbs up, because I don't know if y'all can hear me, thumbs up. But after you come to me so many times, it's like, wait a minute. In order for me to get back to that point, I will have to focus on that point. I can't keep focusing on what happened when you went in the ground. I got to focus on that point, because you just told me that you wasn't there. And that came out your mouth. That came out his mouth. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. Which lets me know that you wasn't in that body. So where was you then? If you wasn't there. See what I'm saying? It makes you think, that stuck with me for a long time. Well, it stuck with me long enough. And this right here just happened, maybe a week ago or so? Maybe. Give or take. So, how do I do that? For me, you just got to listen for the voice. Not with these ears, though. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in your mind, what I've been trying to do is figure out if this right here is just a replay of something that I hear from just hearing his voice from a memory, or is this something that he's really saying and you can hear the voice. Now see, sometimes what would happen is you in like at best I've heard up until he said hoodie, up until that point right there, only thing I would probably be able to do is just probably see him. You know what I'm saying? You'll probably be able to see him, but he won't say nothing though. He won't say nothing. In some cases you can hear him laughing, but don't say no words though. You ain't gonna hear no words out of him. Sometimes they'll just stand there and just look at you. Sometimes he'll just appear, look at you, and then be gone. And see, you thinking about all this stuff right here. That when you start thinking about that, once you start what they like to call daydreaming, you're not daydreaming, baby. You done went off into a whole nother plane, baby. That ain't no daydream. No, you really put yourself, that is probably, you know what? Thinking about it right now, that right there is probably one of the ways you could do that stuff. In your physical, thinking about it. Think about this. You go daydreaming, you be in that long daydream, it almost make you feel like you there. Spiritually, you are there. And then when somebody break that daydream, boom, you come right back to reality. And then here you is right here at your physical part. You back at the physical part where you can actually see stuff now. So now you ain't even on that realm. You got to focus back here. It's like took all the wind out you. But when you was there, you felt good. You felt good. You was smiling and somebody was across the room. Somebody across the room was looking at you and they was like, look at them, they over there smiling. What they smiling at? Look at what they smiling. Ask them what they smiling at. You was on your own other world, man. You was doing your own thing. You was, you know what I'm saying? What you smiling? Nah, man, just something I was thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff like that. Like you do that stuff. So you actually doing it. The part is you just got to be aware of when you're doing it, and you do it all the time. You do it all the time. So this stuff that I'm telling you that I've been doing, you can do the same thing, but you just got to be aware when you're doing it. You can't, when you had all these people that got this, I don't care, I ain't changing for nobody. These are the ones that ignore that stuff about it and then wonder why when you put that stuff out, how it comes back to you. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't understand it. You don't get it. You know what I mean? You don't understand the type of energy that you release. Everybody has their own set of energy that's around them. That's how you could look at somebody when they talking and say, man, he full of it. Man, lying, been saying that forever. You can listen to that and tell that didn't sound right. And then you can listen to somebody and you can tell when, nah, that's the truth right there. Now I might have a question about it. Like, you know, like not in a way to discredit it, but you know, just to like maybe go more in depth on, but nah, they telling the truth. You can listen to it and off the bail know that it's the truth. See, that right there is paying attention to that voice that I was telling you about. You know what I'm saying? And when you get good at it, you will be able to tell that right there. So you're going to see these liars a mile away and you're going to move accordingly too. You're going to know when somebody being straight up with you, even if they wrong morally, because all this stuff right here is just a mindset. So if they morally wrong, and let's just say that they perform extreme wickedness, right? Or let's just say wickedness, not extreme. Let's just say that they perform wickedness and you met them and they look good in the mud. You know what I'm saying? And y'all was talking and conversating and everything. And, you know, maybe you didn't pick up on the energy at the time. But later on, the more and more y'all start talking and everything, that person started to tell you, well, you know, I'm not really that good of a person. I'm not the person that you think I am. And I'm just being honest with you. You know, I like our connection that we got, but I can't keep on going on without you knowing the type of person that I am. You know what I'm saying? I've done this, I've done that, you know what I'm saying? And things that I'm not really, you know, great on, you know, or feel great on, this, that, and the other. And they come and tell you now you're going to look at that and you're going to say, well, for the biggest end, you're going to say, well, that person got to be telling the truth. They came and volunteered the information, and it wasn't the best information about them that you would typically volunteer to somebody. But the fact that you did that right there, you see what I'm saying? The act, and that shows accountability. You see what I'm saying? So if you a person that struggles with accountability, it's going to be kind of hard to get to this point that I'm talking about. If you struggle with accountability, if you struggle with reasoning, if you struggle with not being able, if you struggle with not being able to understand things that you don't agree with, if you can't do that, if you're not able to understand things that you don't agree with, you're going to have some issues getting there. Just letting you know, because that's all part of it. If you going to have issues when somebody says something and it would trigger you to give a response, and instead of you listening to that person, you got to interject right then and there. Sometimes you got to do it, but you got to do it every single time you fighting every battle, because you got to prove this person wrong. If you're doing that, for one, you're not listening. Two, if you're doing that right there and cutting the person off at every turn like that right there, then your spirit would never be able to hear what the rest of it was. You know what I'm saying? Your spirit won't be able to hear what the rest of what their spirit is trying to tell you, because you cut them off. You ever let somebody talk and you just kept on letting them talk, and like, damn. You know, and that sometimes motherfuckers thought that they was really getting it in on. They thought that they was eating when they was talking. But the whole time you was looking at them like, damn, man, shit. That ain't sound too good to me. Ain't something I do. Like, you was looking at them like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I ain't gonna high five that one. You know what I mean? But at that point, you get to see what their spirit was like. You see what I'm saying? So if you're going out here and you're not trying to, you don't like who you are, and you trying to portray this fake image of you, better believe it will be exposed, because you can only do that for so long. You can't do that with the spirit. Yep. The spirit is not going to allow you to do that. What the spirit going to do is going to expose who you really are. And while you're trying to hide who you really are, you actually going to be actually proving who you really are in the midst of trying to hide it. This is how you get caught. This is how you get caught, because you can actually see it. You see what I'm saying? You can actually see it when you put all this stuff together, and you just sit back and guess what? Here go be the thing. You ain't got to say nothing. Only thing you got to do is sit back. Man, you sit back and not say nothing, people going to say that you mad at them, that you got something against them, because you ain't calling them, you ain't answering your phone, you not texting them, you not sending them freaking get well cards. You know what I'm saying? You ain't coming to wash their car. And all this stuff right here simply is because you decided to sit back and try to do a little internal work and see, what was this right here that I was feeling? What was it that I was going through at the time? What was it that I was going through at the time that all of a sudden you kind of like feel like a little shift? You know what I'm saying? Because I know people that go down the tubes for years and years. And like I said, that don't mean that a person don't still have moments or stuff like that. But it was just something that I kind of like picked up on. You know, it took me a while to pick up on it. It took me a long time to pick up on it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still trying to figure some stuff out, though. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's going to be a work in progress. I'll bring y'all along with me, if you want to see the journey. That's all good and dandy. You know what I mean? But, yeah. I just learned, man. In doing that right there and trying to get back with my son and get on his energy level like that. And then that's another thing. He was never sad. I never seen him sad. Every image that I had after looking at him, if you look at him physically, definitely you're not going to sleep. Definitely. But every time I seen him on the spiritual end after that, it was nothing like I seen him on nothing. I'm telling you, nothing. Nothing. It started out with me having like little images. So what happened is you would get an image of a person. You know what I'm saying? In your dream, you would get an image of a person. You know what I'm saying? And when you get that image of that person, you won't see no face. Sometimes you ain't gonna see no face in there. And they won't say nothing, but it's kind of like you know it's them. But then, you remember how just as strong as I would tell y'all that certain information would come in, how certain information would come in, right? And I would go against it and you know, kind of like, nah, and then it'll come back stronger. It's kind of like this right here. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's kind of like. I'm sorry, that bird threw me off. It was a really big hawk or vulture or something like that flying around. But it's kind of like that right there. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in a process of trying to get back to, I forgot where I left off at, but here's why, man. When you're in the process of doing that right there, it kind of reveals more than you asked for, more than what you bargained for. That's what's going to happen when you go down that road, because you're not just going to see that within the person that you're looking for. It's going to be like that with everybody, because it's like now you alert to it now. And when you see certain stuff, you just like, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, there's no way that you want to block that. You gonna have to work on some stuff. That's just the bottom line to it. Look, you just gonna have to work on some stuff. Now, that ain't saying that you still can't party and all this other stuff, but see where your energy at when you in the process of learning that right there, and tell me if you feel like partying. Tell me if you feel like drinking. Tell me if you feel like, well, you might, you might want to smoke, because if you smoke, that you'll really get there then. If you smoke before you start really thinking about it, put you in a deep mindset, baby, you start thinking, you will get some clear answers. Where do your answers come from? I'm going to tell you something too. I get a lot of answers in around the 3 or 4 o'clock morning too, like around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, sometimes you get woke up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning without no alarm. You know what I mean? You ain't got no alarm clock and you wake up consistently at that same time. I wonder what do that mean? Cause I be having a lot of stuff going through my mind at that time, but it be more clear. It ain't congested. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a traffic jam. You know what I'm saying? At that time, it's like, it's just one by one, so easily. So I'm gonna figure that one out too. You know, that 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning thing. I know I get that right there typically. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time, but many times I do. You know, but yeah, you can, and we can all do it. Let me read some of these comments real quick, because I just been up here running off at the mouth and I ain't seen none of these comments that's on here. Oh, it's a lot. I appreciate the spiritual so much, beautiful thing. I see you, Alicia. He's always with you. Never left your side. The universe has a way of showing you full circle flesh of the connection of you, the earth. The spirit is the connection between you and God. That is true. That is true. Then you know he will always be with y'all. Yeah. You know what? Every time I've heard that right there, man, he been okay. He been okay, man. He been okay. He said he been okay. So that's what I've been working with. And because I've been working with that, it been able to pull some of that negative energy up off of you. You know what I'm saying? It is able to pull some of that negative energy up off of you, man, because that's why I said, you know, it's nothing personal when it come down to certain people, man. It don't be nothing personal. See, in order for you to get to a space where you could at least stomach it. See, I'm at a spot right now. I believe at this point right now, I could at least stomach it at this point, because I done seen all the worst stuff. I done seen the worst. I done seen the worst end of everything on the physical end. I done seen the worst that you could think of. I done seen all of it. So now that I done seen it all, I mean, now what you gonna do? You gonna stay there, or you know what? How long you gonna stay there? How long you plan on staying there? In my mind, that's the way I thought about it. You know what I mean? That's the way I thought about it. You know, I ain't seen it all. So now it's like when you in that process, like I said, you're not really thinking about nobody else. And I'm not saying that in a selfish way, but the people who's not spiritually right, them are going to be the ones that's going to do it. And that's why I told you, they're going to stand out. They going to stand out. They going to stand out like them. And here's how it started off, y'all. It started off. You ever pop popcorn on the stove and actually watched it through the glass? See, that was me. I used to always watch it in the glass to see which one gonna pop first, or, you know, how it started off popping. I was always intrigued on the popcorn being little, right? That's the way it started off, y'all. That's the way it started off. Only thing you got to do is be quiet. That's the only thing you got to do is be quiet. You ain't got to say nothing to nobody. And just like the first kernel of popcorn, somebody gonna pop out, boom. Oh, you mad at them. I ain't said nothing to nobody. Your silence mean that you was mad. Okay, fine. Then another one gonna pop up, boom. They looking at you sideways. Then another one gonna pop up, boom. That person lied to you. Another one gonna pop up. This person ain't got your back like you think they do. Another person, this person was just talking about you behind your back. Like, all this stuff will come, like, and then before you know it, a whole bunch of them just start popping up like, boo, 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 boo. And then it sends you to a place in your mind to where, like, now, everywhere you go, I don't care if you go to a store, gas station, I don't care if you go to the mall, if you around a lot of energy, you gonna scan that energy, and you gonna know that right there is gonna let you know if you in a good place or a bad place. Cause the spiritual energy about you is gonna scan that environment that you in. Without you doing this now, you ain't gonna do this. Not you, it's gonna do it on its own. Once you get to where I'm talking about, it scan that whole field right there. Cause I did it. That's the only reason I'm talking to y'all about this right here. Cause this right here is some stuff that I done did within the past, since my son been gone. You know what I'm saying? And I used to do it before then, but I used to write it off. But it didn't came back stronger now. So now when you around certain energy now, it'll direct you and let you know that, hey, wait a minute, okay, this right here is just for a good time, not a long time. Don't even go over there. Shit, I'll go over there, man. Get yourself out the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really got a guidance system in you if you pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? If you pay attention to it, what we like to call intuition, that's part of your guidance system too. That's not by accident. You know what I'm saying? If y'all think this video helps somebody, you can share it. Feel free to share it, man. It's a journey, man. It's a journey. And, you know, at this point right here, you know, it's people that losing their loved ones all over social media and stuff, man. Maybe they need to hear that too. You know, that was just one of the ways that I'm using to cope with and try to, you know, get past my son's passing. You know what I'm saying? You have to get rid of all this physical stuff that you used to seeing. You got to rid your mind of it. You know what I'm saying? And that part is difficult. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feel like you got to do. When you get to the point to where I'm at and you start thinking about certain stuff, you're going to have to trash all the memories. It sound harsh. I know it do. It sound harsh. You're going to have to trash the memories. You're going to have to try to forget about all that stuff right there if it don't make you feel good in the moment. You see what I'm saying? If it don't make you feel good in the moment, you got to stop looking at it in the moment. And then here's the thing. You use your energy to see pretty much where your temperature is. You use your spirit to kind of like measure where your temperature is on whether you high vibrational or low vibrational. So like for instance, if your day going good and everything, you know, everything popping off, you know, and then somebody come in the house, you know what I'm saying, crying, People done turned down the music. Girl, what's wrong? Boy, what's wrong? What happened? What happened? And then they come in, they break the bad news. Oh, such and such, just Your energy didn't go up. You're going to feel your energy go down, baby. That's what I'm talking about. You got to pay attention to that part right there. Not the message that you got, but how did you feel in the inside when that shift took place? Because the shift took place at that point. That moment that somebody picked up that phone and called you and told you somebody died, it was a shift that took place right here, right up in here in your chest cavity area, you know, somewhere in your body, right? You got that, right? Everybody got that. That right there is what you looking out for. That's the shift that you looking out for. You know what I'm saying? And almost every aspect of your life when you dealing with something, that shift right there is like it lightens up everything. It's like it's a power source. It's just like somebody taking one of those defibrillators or something to clear and just boom, just hit you with a burst of energy. You like, and we call it shock, right? That's what it is. I guess that's what it is. It's shock. Like somebody hit you with a burst of energy to shock you. Everything light up at the same time. Shocking energy ain't necessarily always bad energy. You see what I'm saying? And that right there is what your spirit is going to tell you. It's going to tell you, but it's up to you on whether you want to listen to it or not. Any questions? Let me see. 3 new comments. Let's see what we got going on. Yeah, see? You say, yeah, I could feel it, but never really got into it. Terrell, I was the same way, my good brother. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I was the same way. So you got people out here that will see that and they don't want to deal with it. You know why? Let me tell y'all something. Out of all this stuff that I just told y'all, out of all this stuff I just told y'all, you ain't heard me say nothing scary, right? And that right there is a problem that people have. People have a issue when it comes down to dead people. So you see somebody dead, you've been taught that it's a demon or it's an evil spirit because they dead, and you just seen a shadow of them. You just seen the spirit of them and stuff like that. Immediately your energy go down. You get scared. And all this other stuff, don't want to go in the room. And man, listen, don't do that. Don't do that. That is your spiritual guide letting you know that that person is with you. So when we was hearing stuff around the kitchen, moving and dropping on his own, hey, if that's my son or y'all sibling or relative, what's the scary part? It's your mind. It's you. Because the physical part of you says that nothing moves without an action. That's what the physical part told you. And you stuck on the physical part. It's so much undoing in the physical that you really have to do in order to understand how deep I really want to go with it. And I'm still working on it. I'm new at this. Right? From what I'm talking about. For me, I'm new at this. And this right here, again, is just my experience. But you really gonna have to kneel down, man, and really start to unravel what we knew on the physical. It ain't what it is, man. It's not what it is. When you take that stuff, man, and you start dissecting it and looking at it for what it is and not what it's supposed to be, man, I've been duped. It's like I've been spiritually duped. I've been going to different funerals. We know the tradition of that stuff already. We know that the family car gonna come to the house. We know that they gonna take us to the service. We know we gonna sit in there for about at least a half hour to an hour. In most cases, you know, if you at the funeral home, could be longer if you in the church. We gonna sit there all day. We gonna congregate with people. We gonna sit up there and look at you all day and just cry, and wait for them to close the coffin, and then cry, and then we gonna wait for everybody to wheel you out the door. We're going to need 6 pallbearers. We're going to need honorary bearers. We're going to need flower bearers. We're going to need y'all to come on out here, 3 here on this side right here. Okay, let's go on here and open up this door. Okay, we're going to let them go on here. And then when you get to the cemetery, look, it's a routine, man. It done been drilled in your head time after time after time. You know the routine. Why? Why do we allow that right there? Even though we know the play, we still allow it to have effect. And that's where we lose on the spiritual end. Because they done put all this stuff in front of your face. See, if I can take the mind, I can control the body. So if I'm about to take your mind from you, and I'm going to show you this picture of your deceased one. Yeah. I'm going to show you your deceased one. It look like he look, or she look like a mannequin. You look fake, some of them. Like, man, I wish I'd have just kept the last memory of them, in which that right there is really where I was getting at with this right here. Sometimes we just need to keep the last memory, the last happy memory that we had with our loved one. We need to start skipping some of these funerals, y'all. I ain't playing. I'm thinking about that right there. We need to start doing something else to where that don't lag on your mind, because you don't know what that does to a person's mind if they not strong enough to have to deal with that kind of stuff, man. It done did a lot to my mind. You know what I'm saying? And I know so the type of impact that it done have. I'm trying to tell you. I know the type of impact that stuff has had. And if you're not strong enough to deal with that, you could do some damage to yourself. You could do some real damage to yourself. Trust me. Take my word for it. Don't imagine. I had a lot of people that said that I can't imagine what you're going through. You know what? Don't. I tell people, don't. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it. Don't imagine what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Like if we could stay away from these funerals, man, we'd get back to our spiritual selves, man. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's like, the reason why I tell you that in some ways I messed it up for myself is because instead of me remembering my son the way I last seen him, you know what I'm saying, happy and smiling and all this other stuff the night before when I took him to go get his haircut, instead of me doing that, I had to verify that you was on that ground. I had to look at you. You know, I had to verify that this was you in that autopsy pictures. I had to look at them. I had to make sure that this right here coffin I had to make sure. See, and that right there was something that I did on my own. Nobody made me do that. That's me taking accountability for that right there, because I'm responsible for that right there. And then I done put all this stuff right here in my psyche and stuff like that. And then turn around, then come back on social media and give y'all all my sorrow and all the other stuff. Now, guess what? I just made myself a victim, man. I mean, it really is. And it could be an understandable, you could be a victim in that case, understandably, but me, the way I move, I don't like to be in victim territory, because it leaves you open to vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, you just don't want to put yourself there. You know what I'm saying? And that right there is what happens when you're looking at this stuff after this person have been called home, because that person is not even in that body no more, man. I don't think you understand the significance of that person that you knew, that spirit, that nice, sweet soul that you was talking to or considered talking to, is not in that body no more. Ain't in that one. And we could prove that. We could prove that. And that's where our focus is. Something that got to go back to the earth from which it came. Go back to that physical part. You know what I'm saying? But to know that there's no such thing as death. When somebody tell you there's no such thing as death, damn. You got to think on that one. No such thing as death. No such thing as death. Hell, they right. But the only ones that's going to believe that right there is the ones that's still on this low vibrational area of the physical. In order for you to see that there's no death, you're going to have to think higher than the physical. You see what I'm saying? Because if you think that there's a death, then you still thinking about that person that you seen in that coffin. That's what you thinking about. That's not it. That was just a body. You know what I'm saying? That energy gonna come back, and who knows? You might have a different set of parents. Think about this right here. Think about this. You lose a sibling or a loved one, or let's say a loved one. You lose a loved one. Somebody else close in the vicinity have a baby. Who's to say that that energy ain't go right over there and still was part of that? But see, you won't recognize them in a new body. You will have to go by their spirit. And that's why when people talk to you, some people, when people talk to me, they say, you got an old spirit. You know, and they used to say that about my son too. They used to say that about Junior too. They used to say he got an old spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that right there is, that right there is because that spirit that used to be here at some point in time and came back around somewhere. It had to, which means that energy didn't die. You know what I'm saying? That's what we've been taught. So had we been taught that, y'all, just think about this. Do y'all think that we done been taught that right there just so we could stay at our spiritual lowest, so we could be taken advantage of? Just think about that. So we could be taken advantage of. You see what I'm saying? Because you got people that hey, listen, some of these people, hey, listen, they not spiritual, but they have a detachment. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference between being spiritual and just being detached. Because you could be detached and not be spiritual, and you just go through your own roller coaster on your own. You know what I'm saying? But some of these people that are spiritual, they spiritual, and they spirituality detached them from people that's not as spiritual as they think they are. You know what I'm saying? And again, that just happens. It's not because you mad. You know how many people that I've separated from the time I lost my son and everything, man. And it ain't because I said, no, I'm gonna stay away from that person because I don't like you and I don't like that person. This person didn't do that. No. Only thing I did was just sat still in one place. And it's just like people just start popping up out the woodworks. And I'm telling you, it's going to be, when this right here happened, again, I've been saying this for the longest, it's going to be some of the closest people to you, because that's where you were when you was at your vulnerable, when you was at your most vulnerable. It was the people that was close around you, that was around you when you was at your most vulnerable. You know what I mean? And so those right there are the ones that know which way to play. They know which way to go with it. You know what I mean? Let me see what we got here. Says you have to have an open mind, or you will block it. And that's true. You got to be open to this stuff. You can't have a small mind listening to the stuff that I'm talking about. The stuff that I'm talking about won't allow a small-minded person to stomach it. They won't be able to stomach what I'm saying. They won't be able to grab it. They mind too small for them to listen long enough, for them to sit still long enough to even grab it. They gonna change the channel. You know what I'm saying? Or they gonna write off what you saying. Them right there gonna be the ones that call you crazy. And since this right here done happened, he been doing this and no. Ain't nothing about you crazy. But the more spiritual stuff that you tend to learn, like I said, it's gonna be a thin line between crazy and spiritual. Trust me. And you'll be able to sniff it out. You know what I'm saying? It says exactly, we mourn their physical being, but they're here and experience all the joys of our life. I'm glad you are healing. Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. I do have an open mind in that. You know what I mean? I do have an open mind. I don't have an issue with, you won't be able to see this stuff if you don't have an open mind, okay? You won't be able to see it if you don't have an open mind. only the body goes. We are external, baby, but that's a different story. The body is a shell. We are energy. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed, which equals eternal. The Bible even say people will come back, but you won't recognize them because they're in a different body. And I believe that at this point because, like I said, it wasn't nothing more clear than me than my son saying that I wasn't there. That was really the first time to think about it. That was probably the only time I ever heard my son say anything. He said I wasn't there. And that's probably what threw me off because I heard it when them antennas go up. Then he started talking some hoodie. And, you know, say something about a hoodie. And sure as ever, it was confirmed. So that was good enough for me. That was good enough for me, y'all, to kind of pull me up out that rut, man. Cause I'm telling you, you gotta have you would never get the right answer, man. But to hear that you okay and that you wasn't there, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute. But what we was experiencing throughout that whole time while we was such in low vibration, we was watching pictures fall off the wall. We was listening to dishes rattle. We was listening, feeling cold wind and breezes come by us when we know good and well it wasn't no wind draft or nothing. Man, we was everything. Like, we was hearing that stuff. And so being that low in energy, if you're not paying attention, that will scare you. It will scare you because like, oh shoot, like, oh my God, we just seen this picture fall off the wall. Like literally everybody's sitting there, everybody. So it ain't just you. It's in front of a whole bunch of people. And so much to the point to where when that picture fall, everybody looking at each other like, shit, I ain't did nothing. What happened? Like, so now here it is months later, you hear his voice and he says, I was with y'all. So wait a minute, that was you knocking down them pictures? That's where you gotta look at it now if you want to feel good about it. You say, wait a minute. You the one was knocking down them pictures? You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that all that time that was you in there in there messing with them dishes? And when I was in there fixing that kitchen sink, that you was with me that whole time? Like, how did you know I was fixing the kitchen sink? I didn't see you there. It's like, yeah, well, I was there. But when you get this stuff right here, I'm telling you, like sometimes like it had been times when I've seen them caught me off guard, right? And I seen them and it was like, it was more so like shit, you wasn't even dead. It was like, okay, well, Junior, watch out, man. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was telling y'all I was in the basement, you know, doing the laundry thing. It was like, man, watch out. But it looked like, no, it was just gone. See, because just in that flash of the moment, you know what I'm saying? I went back to my physical that fast. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn it. You know what I'm saying? So now that's what I guess I'm trying to do. That's going to be my new game, y'all. Thank you for me talking to y'all. Listen, that's going to be my new game, trying to figure out how I can catch you. Cause it's almost like playing peekaboo now, right? Cause this right here is what I'm about to start doing. I'm about to start using this right here to try to play peekaboo. Right? So meaning that I'm trying to catch, because every time it's like when you would never be able to see him head on, right? You're going to see him like in your peripheral, or if your eyes closed or something like that, you will be able to see him like that right there, right? So as soon as you get like, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that right there, man. You know, that's kind of like the area when where I want to be at. You know what I'm saying? Get to the area where you have like Whoopi Goldberg was on that movie Ghost. Y'all seen that movie Ghost? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that. Like you could hear him like I'm talking to you. Like hear him like that. Like I'm talking to you. That's the way I want to get to. You know what I'm saying? Get to that point. But like I said, if I keep practicing at it, it might happen. You know, I don't know how long it'll take for that to happen, but that's just something to think about though, man. It's just a good thing to know that when you think that your people is dead, they not dead, man. They not dead. They just missing physically from you, but they not dead though, man. That's crazy. They not dead. They really not. And that blew my mind. That blew my mind because I held myself you know what I'm saying, guilty. I held myself guilty for a very long time under the guise that my son is dead. I can't believe my son is dead. And even right now as I speak, I still say that, you know what I'm saying? But that right there, because of the habit of doing it all the time, you know, this is the way we live. We've been living this way. We pay very little attention to the spiritual end of us only when it started to count. You know what I'm saying? Oh, damn, I started thinking about stuff. And it seemed like every time I think about something, it come to life. Have y'all ever did that? Thought about something like, damn, I was just thinking about that. Like, see, you wasn't even connected then, but you did it with your spiritual self, and you did it so belligerently. I mean, you wasn't, cognizant of what you were doing. That wasn't the word I was looking for. But you wasn't cognizant of what you was doing when you did that. But it happened. You just, because it was all within. It was you the whole time. And when you know that, that forces you to take accountability and responsibility on your end. You can't go forcing and playing out nobody else's stuff and talking about what somebody else did to you. It forces you to hold accountability to yourself. That's part of what going spiritual, or at least thinking on that realm, would do. It'll cause you to have to look at yourself and really self-reflect for real. Yep. You have to look at yourself, and you have to do a lot of self-reflection. And sometimes you might not like how you have to deal with that right there, man. Yeah, man, it's, but like I said, it's just, you know, the transition of having to communicate with you, you know, you get so used to communicating with your loved ones in the physical, because that's what you could physically see and that's what you physically know. You get so used to it that it never dawned upon you that one day you probably won't be able to communicate with them this way. But nobody never tell you that, hey, you can really communicate with them this way. But they leave it so wide open and so broad. Like, come on, man. You just left it wide open. You can communicate this way. You ain't gave me no instructions. You ain't telling me how to do it, which way to go by. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you how to do it. I'm telling you how to do it. And I'm telling y'all gonna have to, for one, you're gonna have to shed that physical mindset that you had about the situation. Because after you know this right here about the spiritual end, the question then becomes, is the problem still the problem? Or is it your attitude toward the problem that's the problem? See what I'm saying? See, it's kind of like when you know better, you kind of like do better. So I can't sit up here and know this and tell y'all this right here and then still feel like I felt day one when it first happened. I'd be lying to y'all. Again, like I said, I still have my moments, but this right here is what I've come up with so far. You know what I'm saying? This is what I've come up with so far. So I'm, you know, along the journey, you know, like I said, it's just like, I don't have time for any other shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? Like, this right here is a journey that I'm literally taking by myself. And this is why I'm telling y'all, in order for y'all to do it, y'all gonna have to take that journey by yourself. Don't try to bring nobody with you. You know what I'm saying? Only the ones that understand it and get it. Only the ones that actually understand it and the ones that actually get it, okay? And you will know it. You gonna know about it. Because of where you stand at, you will know about it. Trust me. When you run into those people that actually get it and understand, because it's going to resonate with your spirit. You know what I'm saying? The stuff you're going to start being able to tell a person, if they got good energy or bad energy, because some of the stuff that they do or say is not going to resonate with you, or it ain't going to resonate with them. you know, it ain't gonna resonate within themselves. But if they trying to come and push it on to you and it ain't gonna resonate with you, you won't be able to listen to that stuff, man. It's gonna give you what you call a bad vibe. I got a bad vibe from that person right there. I never seen him, never talked to him, never hugged him, don't know nothing about him, but it was something about that person. Oh, damn. That person just right. I knew that person was, I knew that person was doing something wrong. Something just didn't sit right. Yeah. See? That's them the parts when you start using your energy. You start using your energy and your spirituality. You know what I'm saying? When danger lurks, when evil lurks, as my man Smokey would say, when evil lurks. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start to use that. You got to try to practice that right there, like on a regular. Cause that's what I've been trying to do. That's what I've been doing. That's why I've been trying to tell y'all where I'm at now, because I've been trying to do this right here on the regular, and I've been doing this for a really long time. Well, I can't even really say a really long time, y'all, though, for real, because it only been since November, December, January, February, March, April. So we're looking at roughly 5 months, 5 going on 6 months. I haven't seen them in 6 months. So we're looking at about 5.5, 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that really wasn't long. But it felt like an eternity, though. It did feel like an eternity because the hours was going by like centuries, man. The minutes was going by like, you know what I'm saying? Like decades. And so, but damn. So, yeah, well, I guess. Yeah. So, you know, for y'all that done lost somebody, man, I really highly recommend that, you know, don't go too hard on yourself. Try not to go too hard on yourself like that right there. I know close ones and everything, and I'm saying this right here. I lost my son. I'm telling y'all this right here, man. Don't go too hard on yourself, because the recovery from that right there, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to recover from all that grief that you went through, all that sorrow and all that stuff, man. You got to recover from that. In some cases, some people can't even recover from it, because not only that, you getting hit with these bills, bam, you getting hit with a job that you probably gonna lose, boom, you still trying to gather yourself together, and then you still got kids and other people that you got to stay strong for, and you got to hold tight to, and all this other stuff, man. Listen. And so, guess what? Once you get to that point right there, if you really practice that right there, hopefully before somebody else get a chance to pass, you will be able to look at that right there and say, hey, you good. See, my reason for feeling down at the time wasn't because I didn't think my son was at peace. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that my reason for being where I was at that time was because he wasn't at peace. It was because I was thinking about him physically. I was looking at the physical. I wasn't thinking about no peace or none of that other stuff. Was you at peace and all this? I'm looking at you out here on this ground right here, and somebody better come and pick you up before it be some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he said he wasn't there. And I actually believe him because of the movement around my house that I was having. I talked to mediums too, and they used to say the same thing. It's just that you need more proof. You gotta come on with something a little bit more solid than that. Come on, something a little bit more solid. You know what I'm saying? And slowly but surely, stuff just start revealing itself to you. You don't have to do nothing. It's going to reveal itself. Anything. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. It's going to reveal itself. So that right there was pretty much my take on, you know, in terms of where I'm at now and stuff like that. When I talk about my lower vibrational stuff, my lower energy stuff, you're going to hear me talking about the courts and all that other stuff and Trump and all that other stuff. You know, I ain't talking in this realm right there. You know what I mean? So, but yes, that's pretty much where I'm at, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't want everybody else to I think I'm pretty well, y'all, for real. I believe I'm pretty well. I think I could, I think I can handle it from here, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever else I ain't got, I'm pretty sure it'll come up. But, I want everybody else to have peace as well. There's some people that say, they can't wait for me to get peace and the mother to get peace and stuff like that. I can't speak for her version of it. I'm only speaking on my end. Is why I tell you got to go on your own trail by yourself. And when you do that, like I said, certain things just going to be exposed, whatever it may be. But for me, I could live with where I'm at now. I could live with where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? Versus where I was before. I was a wreck, man. Shoot. I didn't know this stuff that I was telling y'all to the degree. I've always had some type of knowledge of it, and it would have been easier for me to tell somebody else that was going through that would have been sitting in my shoes like, dude, I ain't trying to hear that right now, man. I know you're a good guy, but I don't want to hear all that right there, okay? Just let me, and I understand. So hopefully that's why I tell y'all, man, listen, I know it's done been an extensive video because y'all done been talking me to death. But y'all can share the video, man. Hopefully, like I said, I hope it helps somebody, man. I hope it helps somebody before you start going out there tearing yourself up over these funerals and over what people that's supposed to be dead that ain't even dead. These people ain't even dead. You know what I'm saying? With the new set of eyes, these people ain't dead. With these eyes, they dead. Okay? So it just takes some getting used to. That's what it is. It's about getting used to not being able to. It's almost kind of like learning a different language. If you are totally oblivious to different language and you don't know nothing about nothing, and you trying to go over there and trying to learn Chinese language and try to learn how they write their language in in their country and stuff like that, and you know absolutely nothing, and they just sit you right there in the middle of China with a whole bunch of people that don't talk nothing like you. You don't understand them, they don't understand you. Y'all all got to start from scratch. Well, that's what it feels like, having to start from scratch when you learning how to deal with the spiritual end of it, because you know the physical end. You've been doing this your whole life. You know the physical end. You got that wrapped up, you know what I'm saying, to a T. You could tell somebody what's going to happen by them doing whatever they want to do, by them doing whatever action they take. You could tell them damn near the end result. On the physical end, you got it down to a science. But now you have to take this right here. You know what I'm saying? You need to take this right here, and then you learn something that you haven't learned yet. And when you learn stuff that you haven't learned yet, you kind of like raise your alertness, so to say, your energy, I guess. You raise something up here, man. That's why you don't never be limited in what you can learn, because you can learn a lot from the generation behind you. That's where you're going to learn a lot from. And you're going to learn from the generation above you. And you're going to learn a lot from dummies. Don't let nobody tell you that a dummy is just dumb, because you can learn a lot from a dummy. And that's just how you move. You use other people examples from where they failed at. You see and you know not to go in that area. Don't think that you can, just go there, thinking that you could do it better than the last person doing the same exact thing. You got to get creative. You got to do something different. And so, to get a different result, you got to shake some stuff up. And nobody never said that right there was going to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Nobody never said that was going to be comfortable. I know people right now still going through stuff. They lost parents, man, years ago, and they still going through it. Still can't shake certain things. Maybe have addictions or habits, bad habits or something like that's not really conducive to them moving forward, because they still thinking about how they last seen they loved one in a coffin. So maybe cremation is the way to go, y'all. So we could, when that right there happens, you have a faster healing process. When you don't have to think about your loved one the last way you seen them, the last way that everybody seen them was sitting up there in a coffin dead. Like, it just never got, I never asked the question. Like, why do we want to sit up in here and stare at a dead person for 2 hours? Like, why do we want to sit up there and look at somebody that's dead for 2 hours? You wouldn't pick up the phone and talk to him for 5 minutes. But we supposed to sit in here for 2 hours and watch somebody just sitting up there dead looking like you sleep? Like, that would sound crazy to you if everybody, your friends and family and everybody that you knew that could make it, just come to your house because they know that you about to go to sleep. You ain't dead. You just about to go to sleep for the night so you can get up and go to work in the morning. But everybody came inside your bedroom and stood around you and just held hands, and they had on suits and stuff like that just to look at you and just watch you go to sleep. And you looking at everybody, why is y'all staring at me? Then they crying because you about to go to sleep. And all you wouldn't even be able to get no sleep. You wouldn't be able to get no sleep, knowing that all them people there doing that. Tell me you would be able to get some sleep. It would be uncomfortable. Well, guess what? When you go to these funerals and stuff like that, that is made to have you're not comfortable at that funeral. You're in turmoil. You're in turmoil. Excuse me. Your stuff is everywhere. Your emotions is everywhere. You're not comfortable. You as far away from comfortable as you could be. You are as far away from comfortable as you can be. And so to kind of like minimize that right there, let's start cutting some of this stuff right here. Let's start slicing the fat on some of this right here. And so one of the ways that we started slicing, that I started to look at over time, I used to look at how we used to go to some funerals. We used to go to churches. Churches was all day. If you got a funeral at a church, you're going to be there all day long. All day long with a bunch of people saying stuff that's like, okay, he already dead. He been dead 2 weeks. We've been trying to come up with the rest of the money to bury him. We've been trying to come up with the rest of the money for the service. So yeah, we need all them 2 weeks that y'all gonna hold him. So he been dead for 2 weeks. You know he been dead for 2 weeks. Then you come to the funeral service and all that stuff start all the way over. Now he dead again. You looking at him like he dead for the first time. And now all that emotion start coming back. Tears start rolling, emotion everywhere. All that stuff. You just did that. 2 weeks after you found out he was dead. If everything would have just started from there, no funeral service, no graveyard, no none of that stuff, you wouldn't have nothing else to come back to remember that. You wouldn't have a service or nothing like that to come back to remember that this person was dead. You would have a chance to remember that person the way that you last seen them, or the way that you last remembered them. You see what I'm saying? Now, like I said, I'm not against funeral services. I'm not against cremations. I'm not against none of that. I'm just here to tell you where your energy goes when you do those things. I'm not here to stop it. I'm just here to tell you that right there is what happens. And that right there, I believe, is designed to put you in a state of vulnerability, and it allows evil people and evil entities to take advantage of you. And somebody got to be the eyes when this right here is happening. If it can't be you, it got to be somebody that you trust, somebody that's really close that's able to see this right here. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it might not be nobody you trust. It might be a total stranger that just got the honest good in their heart, in their faith. You know what I'm saying? I had people that I never talked to before, and they could just look at me and say, come here, let me pray for you. And some people say, hey, you shouldn't let everybody pray for you and everything. But I figured, why would they pull me out of a whole bunch? You know what I'm saying? Why would, of everybody, why would they pull me out? And this right here done been since so you pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? You paying attention to everything. You paying attention to everything. Nothing goes unnoticed. You understand me? Nothing goes unnoticed. Man, I'm telling you, man, you get that, man, you gonna be sweet. You gonna be sweet. You know what I'm saying, man? Listen. It's gonna be sweet, man. And then when you finally get to that place, you know what I'm saying, you will see that it contradicted everything that society have told you. It contradicts everything society have told you, man. So next time y'all go to these funerals and stuff, think about that for a minute before you go up inside these funerals and start crying, and realize, is you crying because that person is laying there in that coffin like that? And did you want to see that person like that? Why would you do that to yourself? Cause you're going to do this to yourself now. You're going to decide to walk in there. You're going to decide that you want to go and see that person lay in that coffin. You're going to make that decision. That you want to go see them in that coffin. Not that you got to, because nobody forcing you to do this. And that's what I mean by that right there is what I meant. That's what I did. And that right there is what I meant by me. The moves I was making was probably detrimental, but then too, hey, it could be, it could actually be what I need to do to unlock other things. Maybe if I didn't face those things, I wouldn't be able to unlock other features, so to say. I don't know. I'm just guessing, y'all. Just work with me. I'm guessing. I'm just putting it together. I ain't got it all together yet, but I'm just telling you, which way I see it. And you know what? You might be right, sis. That might be a ritual. Just think about it. Look at how that stuff right there goes, man. It might be a ritual. We all do the same thing, man. You go to the same place, hear a couple verses from the Bible. People say they remarks. People come up, have their last goodbyes. They roll the thing down slow. That right there is a hurting thing, y'all. That's designed to hurt you. It ain't. They can't just close like, all right, everything done, boom. I understand that point too. You know what I'm saying? From that area. But when they roll, they take this little key and they twist the thing right there. See, I wasn't able to see that with my son. That right there may not have been by accident, because remember, I told you my son had a closed coffin. I wasn't able to see them lower my son down in the coffin because the coffin was already closed. So, they lower you down twice. What they do is they they take the bed inside the coffin, roll that right there down. You see the coffin, the bed in the coffin actually go down inside the coffin before they actually get ready to close the door, right? So they lower you down like that right there. I didn't get a chance to see that. That could have been a good thing. That probably would have just took me out the game. So it probably wasn't by accident that I didn't see that. Just get an idea. Just thought of that too. Man, I'm thinking about a whole lot of stuff just sitting right here, just venting and talking to y'all. But listen, that's probably why he got it closed, But the part where he did go down, the part where he did go down inside the ground, again, that was on me. I didn't have to stay there and see that, but I did. You know what I'm saying? Man, listen, after you done seen the stuff it's very little that you can do to really hurt me. You do know that, right? For y'all that's out there that see me at my most vulnerable moment, at this point, it's very little that you can do to hurt me. I just want y'all to understand that. When you get to that level, hey. So, like I said, man, I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna let y'all let me go because I've been listening to y'all long enough. And go Go back, man. Look at the video, man. Go back and look at this video if you can. I know it might be a little extensive or whatever. That's how the spirit works. You think it's talking to us, but spirit is sending a message to you. That's true. That's true. So you listen. What we waiting for? We waiting for something to actually come in the physical and tell us that, hey, this right here is what's coming, or that right there is no. This right here is gonna hit you in the spiritual, but it's gonna come directly to you. You know what I'm saying? This right here gonna come directly to you. You know, it's gonna be a message, but it's gonna be for your ears only. And in some cases, the message is going to come to you so good, and it's going to be for your ears only. I had this right here too. Have y'all ever had a message came to y'all so good that when you went to go tell somebody, you couldn't even tell it to them the way that it came to you? That's the way it's going to start coming, to a way that is directly for you, that even if you want to tell somebody, you couldn't even tell them. Because that message is directly for you. That's the message that's for you. That right there just hit my head right there just then. Dang. Hey. That's amazing. Man, you would be surprised, man, where you can get just talking, just speaking. I ain't even planning for this thing to be out here this long like this right here. But I just, I'm gonna let y'all know that I think I'm all right though, y'all. I think I'm all right. I knew a time would come back around. You couldn't stay like that forever, but knowing what I know now is because, see, I got some type of confirmation though. I couldn't be all right without no type of confirmation. You know what I mean? So, hey, man, like I said, y'all share this video. Feel free to share this video if y'all think it'll hurt anybody. Anybody got any funeral services and stuff like that coming up, please let them know this right here, man. Try to sum it up. I know it was a little long-winded, but try to sum it up all in all, man, so these people do not lose their mind, because it's a setup designed to do that. You know what I'm saying? And again, this right here is not a shot to people that help with the funeral services. It's not a shot to people that are going to pay for funeral services. Only thing I'm saying is this right here is what it does when you when you attend a funeral service. It kind of depletes your energy. You're not able to function. And when you vulnerable, the vulnerable, you attack, you weak. Strongest survive. Hey, y'all can like and share this right here, man. And like I said, if you want to comment or you got any questions, or if y'all want to know anything, if you want to know anything that you want me to talk about, because I'm, completely transparent in anything that I want to talk about, you can hit me up in my inbox, right? And tell me what you want me to talk about, or if you want to know, anything, and if I can see it, if I can, make a discussion out of it, I can. If not, then, we'll work through the inbox. You know what I mean? But if you got something that you want to know or a question or something like that, because I'm gonna go back and read through some of these comments when this video is over with. And just let me know. I'll tell you. Whatever, what you want to know. And don't be scared to ask no questions. Because the only way that you won't know 100% is to never ask it. That's the only 100% way that you know that you won't get the answer, is to never ask it. So, get with me later on, y'all. I'm about to take me a little intermission. See y'all later.